Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Blevin Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. If you're watching this video, you're probably watching it on my channel of Be Your Own Patient Advocate, and it is a spin-off from my Navigating the Business of Medicine because I have started now creating videos that are patient-centric, that are intended for a audience full of patients in healthcare that have questions, that want to learn more. So thank you for watching, and let's jump into today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about what to bring to your doctor's appointment. I worked in a private small family practice for 10 years, and I can't tell you how many times patients would come in ill prepared for their visits. And it took a lot of discussions and training with my patients to help them understand that if they want me to help them, they need to help me help them. And in that situation, it starts with the front desk needs and trickles into the mid office. I worked the front office, so I know what patients are really bad at bringing in. So we're going to talk about that today. I've worked the mid office as a medical assistant. I know what was really bad for patients not knowing information. And so we're going to talk about that today. So let's jump in. What should you be bringing to the doctor's office when you're coming? And I shouldn't say doctor's office, it should be anytime you're going to a medical appointment, okay? What do you need to make sure that you have with you? There are some staple things that you should take. You should be prepared always. It's a medical facility, it's a medical environment. Things can go wrong. There can be emergencies, urgent situations, and maybe you aren't seen right away. So you want to make sure you're prepared as well. So we'll talk about that. But the first and most important thing that you should bring with you are your insurance cards and your photo ID. Even if this is an office that you've been going to for 20 years, you need to make sure that you have your insurance card and your driver's license. They should be scanning in copies of your insurance cards and your photo ID. If they have already scanned them in, they should be taking them from you, and they should be just checking that the card you are carrying, the most updated card hopefully, is matching what they have scanned into their system. It could be a new year, it could be a new policy year for you, and maybe you got a new card in the mail and they need to scan up the updated card. Things can change on there that you might not even be aware of or notice that is significant for the office. And we're going to actually have another video where we're going to talk about how to read your insurance card. I'm really excited about that. However, just know that all those little numbers and things on there are very important for different reasons in different parts of healthcare, and having a copy of that card is a game changer when it comes to trying to problem solve things related to your specific care. So you want to make sure that you have your insurance card. If you have more than one, bring all of them. If you're on Medicare, but you have a Medicare Advantage plan, please bring in your Medicare card as well. It's always good for the staff to scan in your Medicare Advantage card as well as your Medicare card, and obviously your supplement card if you have Medicare on a supplement plan. Those are a bunch of things we'll talk about in a different video about different ways of being covered with Medicare, but just make sure you have all insurance cards with you, and you should carry them with you at all times, because what happens if, God forbid, you're out and about, you get in an accident, or you do something that you need to take yourself to the emergency room, you should have your insurance card and your driver's license on you at all times. The second thing is you need to make sure you bring a form of payment, whether it's a credit card, you have cash, a check. You're most likely probably going to have to pay something when you check into the office, whether it's a copay for your visit, maybe a deposit for a high deductible plan, perhaps you have a balance on your account, but having the excuse of not having your wallet with you or no credit card or cash or whatever is unacceptable. Anytime you leave the house, I'm hoping that you have some form of payment in case something happens, and that goes with running to the doctor's office as well. You should have some form of payment on you. If you have a health savings account or a flexible savings account, you might want to use those credit cards to pay your healthcare expenditures. So have that on you and make sure you have that with you when you go to the doctor's office. The third thing you want to make sure you have is a list of your medications. I actually had to train my own parents on this actually, and I have created their own little wallet size list of their medications that they keep in their wallet, especially my father, so that he can give it to whoever is checking him in the back office, whether it's a medical assistant or a nurse or maybe the provider themselves. And it has the list of his current medications. You have to keep this updated. That is the biggest key to this. You can't just fill it out and then just keep it in your wallet and not update it. It's only useful if you keep it updated. However, it's very, very helpful. But you want to make sure you don't just name your medications. You need to put the name of your medication, the dose of your medication, and then how many times a day you take that medication. It's very helpful to know the medications you're taking, but that other information is even more important. So you want to make sure you put the name of the medicine, the dose, and how often you take it. Copy it from the bottles, take all your bottles. Hopefully, you don't have a lot, but if you do, take all your bottles and just write them down. Index cards work fantastic for this, and they fit easily in certain parts of either a wallet or a purse or something like that. You could even take a picture of it with your phone so you can show your phone to the person if you don't want to carry the card, but they could read it off your pictures and record it. You have a note section on your phone, like iPhones have a notes, like a notepad. You could keep them on there so you can read them off. There's multiple different ways, but with technology nowadays and stuff, really not knowing your medications isn't acceptable. And you probably go, well, they prescribe them, they should know. Yes, to a certain degree. However, if you see multiple different doctors, maybe one of them have changed a dose or they've changed a medication and they don't necessarily know that. So don't take it for granted. This is part of being responsible for your own healthcare. You need to be active in your healthcare. And one of those ways of doing that is keeping an updated list of your medications and knowing what you're taking. Along those lines, you should also have your allergies listed, and not just medication allergies, any sensitivities you have, medications, I'm sorry, food allergies, something like that. I would list those on there as well. Usually, one side can be the medications, the other side can be the allergies. It's also very helpful if you have it on your person. If you were, God forbid, to be in a terrible accident or something happens to you, you're unconscious, they will go through your wallet or your purse to try to identify who you are and get that information, and you can have it available for them to know what you're allergic to. Like, I am deathly allergic to sulfa antibiotics. If I have sulfa, I will die next time. It is not something where I just get a slight reaction. And so I have to make sure that I have that on my phone listed under critical allergies. And my husband is super aware of it. All my family knows. If they were to be contacted, if something happened to me and I can't speak for myself, that is the one thing they have to tell them that I cannot have. So it's one of those things you have to be proactive. And like I said, I have it on my phone. The iPhones have places where you can list your allergies and stuff in case they can unlock it and get your information. And I have it there. You have to be proactive in your own care. And this is a very important point. The next thing that I encourage people to do is to write down any concerns and questions you have when you go to your doctor, when you go see whatever provider it is that's helping you with a certain situation. Because it never fails, you get into a conversation and you forget something you want to talk about, or there's so many things that you might forget something. Go prepared. Write down all of your concerns and write down all of your questions. And that doesn't mean that you won't have new concerns or questions develop in your conversation, but it's a good jumping start. And at least you can double check before you're done with the doctor to make sure that you got everything answered before they leave the room. Doctors only get a very small amount of time with you, so you need to make it as efficient as possible. And if you have your concerns and questions written down, boom, you can get through them a lot faster than going, I don't remember, let me think about that, or I'll get to you next time, something like that. Don't do that. Don't short yourself. You have scheduled this visit. It's very important for you to be there, and you deserve to have these things answered. Now, my one little caveat to this, and this is coming from working in the practice, is that sometimes if you have multiple different things that you're concerned about, you can't get all of them answered in one day. It's just not possible. There's not enough time. You can't bill for all of those. And honestly, even though you probably think that's a silly excuse. Doctors are getting paid for a service and they can only get paid for so much of the service at one time, and they deserve to be paid for their time and everything of taking care of you. So if they say, I would love to help you with these two things, but I can't today, we're out of time, or let's just focus on these things that are your priority, and then schedule an appointment to come back to go over these other things, that is very reasonable. That is very realistic. It's going to happen. So don't be upset or put off or think that they're trying to ignore you. You just need to understand that, one, time constraints are huge, and two, you don't want them rushing through some things that might be more important, that need more time. It might seem simple to you, but knowing your health history and being a doctor and trained, they might see something and go, ooh, that's going to take a little bit more time than we have today. Trust them. You can ask them why, but most likely it's going to be a time issue, and also making sure that they can get paid for helping you, because their time is money, just like time is money for us when we do things, and they deserve to be reimbursed appropriately as well. So don't get upset about that. The last thing I want to talk about is making sure that you have a water bottle on you, some snacks if you're diabetic or you get low blood sugars easy, because again, you never know what's going to happen in the healthcare setting in which you're going to see the provider. If it's going to be, maybe they had an emergency that's taking longer, an urgent situation, and you have to wait longer than normal. This happens a lot in healthcare, especially if you're going for some kind of procedure or imaging or something like that. The people who do that also have to work other parts of the hospital or the clinic and might get pulled away to something else, delaying them to be able to see you. And so you need to be prepared. Make sure you have snacks, make sure you have something to drink, preferably water, and make sure that you are dressed appropriately, that you have enough layers so you don't get too cold, or you can take off layers in case you get too hot, and that you are comfortable with waiting. Another thing some people like to take is a charger for their phone, because our phones are very important to us. We hold a lot of things on there. We hold appointment reminders, we have communication abilities, we sometimes use it to pay for things. And if you run out of battery because you're waiting, that's never a good thing. So a lot of people like to bring a power bank with them or a charger or something like that, just to have, just in case. If I know I'm going to a hospital, if I know I'm going to an ambulatory surgical center or an imaging facility, I go prepared, because I know things can happen that are out of their control that could make my appointment later than anticipated. So I go with a book even to help me pass the time. I know from working in healthcare, it happens. It's not fun and it sucks, honestly, sometimes when you don't want to sit around, but it happens, and being prepared is very important. So just keep that in mind. As a recap, you want to make sure you take your photo ID, your insurance cards, any form of payment that you can use to make payments for things that are due, your list of medications, a detailed list, a list of your allergies and sensitivities, your questions and concerns for your visit that day, water, snacks, dress appropriately, a book, charger. Okay? If you think of anything else that I might have missed, please leave that in the comments below. Or if you think of something or have used something that has come in handy when you've had to wait and you want people to know about it, I would love for you to share that. So please leave that in the comments below. Please help my YouTube algorithm by smashing the thumbs up button. And please subscribe to my channel. There's a little bell as well if you want to be notified when I release videos every other week. You can do that and it will notify you if you subscribe and hit that bell. And then please share this with your family, friends, colleagues, anybody who you think would benefit from my channel. I really appreciate the support. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.